Ride1Up is known for making affordable e-bikes for the masses. And as noble a cause as that may be, I think it's safe to say they've never really had much of an appeal amongst passionate cyclists. But with the launch of their latest bike, the CF Racer1, it looks like Ride1Up is hoping to change this. This carbon fiber e-bike is unlike anything the brand has ever made, and to be completely honest, it's pretty unlike anything else on the market right now. So let's jump straight in and see what the lightweight, low-priced CF Racer1 is all about. Coming from a brand like Ride1Up, it should come as no surprise that the CF Racer1 comes in at a pretty unbelievable price tag of just $2,295. Where it differs from the rest of the brand's lineup, however, is with its sleek carbon fiber frame. That frame is available in just two sizes, small and large, which Ride1Up claims can fit riders ranging from 5'3" to 6'3". The CF Racer1 is also impressively light, with a weight of just 27.4 pounds or 12.4 kilograms. For reference, that's lighter than just about any other drop bar e-bike on the market right now. And I'll talk more about how Ride1Up was able to pull that off in a moment, but first, let's go ahead and talk about the geometry. Ride1Up is branding this as an e-gravel bike, though a slick tired option is available as well, and for the most part, the geo on the CF Racer1 seems to be pretty much in line with what you'd expect on a modern gravel bike. It's got a pretty short reach and tall stack, just 384 millimeters and 615 millimeters respectively on the size large, which will give the bike an upright and relaxed riding position. The bike also has a 72-degree head tube angle, 435mm chainstays, and a pretty tall seat tube and standover height, with the seat tube coming in at a whopping 560mm on the size large. Now, of course, a bike's ride feel and handling characteristics aren't entirely predictable from a geo chart, but at least in terms of geometry, it does seem like Ride1Up did their homework. And for the most part, the same can be said about the rest of the frame. The CF Racer1 features modern standards and an impressive array of mounting points, perfect for commuters and bikepackers. The bike also comes with through headset cable routing and a one-piece carbon fiber bar stem combo, which give the front end of the bike an exceptionally clean look, but at the cost of a bit more tedious maintenance. Lastly, the frame has a claimed tire clearance of just 40mm, which is pretty narrow compared to other modern gravel bikes, many of which can fit tires upwards of 50mm wide. Next, let's talk components, starting with the eDrive system, which is taken care of by Bafang, and that's a brand we're not super used to seeing spec'd on higher end bikes like the CF Racer1. The 250-watt hub drive motor puts out a max torque of 42 Nm and is powered by a 250 watt-hour battery hidden inside the down tube. Ride1Up claims that this provides a range of anywhere from 16 to 40 miles depending on rider weight, terrain, and assist level. Controlling all of that is a sleek display that cleanly mounts beneath the stem. Lastly, the CF Racer1 is a Class 3 e-bike, which means that it's pedal assist, it doesn't have a throttle, and that assistance will take you up to 28 miles per hour. Though, to be honest, with that relatively weak 42 Nm motor, it's probably going to take a lot more rider input to get up to that speed as well as keep you there than it would on a more powerful bike. Overall, the pairing of a hub drive motor and relatively small battery definitely shows that the engineers at Ride1Up chose to prioritize affordability and weight as opposed to power and range. Moving on to the rest of the part spec, the CF Racer1 comes with SRAM's 11-speed mechanical Rival 1 group set that has an 11 to 42 tooth cassette in the back. While the lack of a 12th gear and electronic shifting may come as a disappointment to some, I'm sure it plays a large part in keeping the bike's price and weight as low as it is. That said, just because it's relatively inexpensive doesn't mean it doesn't perform well, and the Rival group set has been repeatedly praised for its smooth and reliable shifting. But that tried and true performance is at a bit of a juxtaposition when compared with some of the other components on the bike. For instance, the CF Racer1 comes with generic aluminum wheels, cranks, and the aforementioned carbon fiber bar stem combo. Once again though, this shouldn't come as too big of a surprise given the bike's price. Lastly, the CF Racer1 is available in what they call a road and a gravel build option. And for the most part, these are pretty similar. They only share a couple differences. One of those differences is the tire choice. The gravel bike comes with a pair of 40mm Continental Terra trails, whereas the road build is spec'd with 32mm Schwalbe E1s. The only other difference between the two models are the bars, and the gravel bike comes with a 15-degree flare as opposed to a 3-degree flare on the road build. This subtle change in part spec though does come at a bit of a weight penalty, and the gravel bike is about a pound heavier than the road option, coming in at 28.6 pounds or 13 kilograms. Now it's time to move on to my personal favorite part of these videos, where I get to share with you our take on these newly released bikes, as well as how they compare to other options on the market. And I have to say right off the bat that I am pretty excited and optimistic about the CF Racer1. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, it represents a pretty significant departure from how Ride1Up has approached bikes in the past. And it's impressive to see what they've come up with when they applied their value-focused approach to a more performance-oriented bike. Now, the CF Racer1 is obviously far from a top-tier race bike, but with that modern carbon fiber frame, decent quality part spec, and featherweight build, I think it's safe to say that this bike is going to be a pretty alluring option for riders looking to get an all-road e-bike in this coming year. Now, this is the part of the video where I would usually compare the bike to other similar bikes on the market, but to be honest, there really isn't all that much like the CF Racer1 available right now. These days, it's relatively hard to find any carbon bike for under $2,300, let alone a carbon e-bike. For instance, the similarly priced iGo Aspire Chameleon features the same 250-watt Bafang hub drive motor and lists for $24.99, $200 more than the CF Racer1. But the Aspire comes with an outdated aluminum frame and such significantly worse components that it almost feels silly to compare the two. Another equally unrealistic comparison we can make is between the CF Racer1 and the Santa Cruz Skitch Apex. The Skitch is another all-road carbon fiber e-bike, but is spec'd with a higher-end mid-drive e-system and nicer components, putting the total cost of the bike close to triple that of the CF Racer1. So I think it's safe to say that the CF Racer1 is doing something very different, not just in comparison to the rest of Ride1Up's bikes, but the cycling industry as a whole. So who is this bike for? Well, I think it could be a great option for passionate cyclists looking to get an affordable e-bike to use for commuting, a recreational side piece, or both. And we're actually hoping to get one of these CF Racer1s in to do a physical review later on in the spring. So if you have any questions about the bike that you'd like us to test while we have it on hand, you can go ahead and leave that down there in the comments. While you're there, if you've not done so already, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and like this video, as well as subscribe to the 99 Spokes YouTube channel. And lastly, remember that bikes are for everyone. Have fun out there.